Can you hear me?
Yes. But I'm gonna. You like to turn your head.
I do move a lot.
So I'm gonna.
Because I look at people when I talk to them.
You do. I know. Such a bad habit.
Hey, I'm learning.
Oh, now I hear it. I don't know what I adjusted, but there it is. Okay.
Such a bad habit.
Back in the saddle, flipping my bread.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
JR.
Are we recording?
JR.
Check.
Yeah, we're recording.
We're recording.
Christ got murdered today. Good Friday.
Oh, wow. Oh!
Yeah. Hit the music.
Not what I was trying to do.
Hello, sluts.
What up, world?
We'll figure out a name for people who listen to our podcast.
I thought well, you decided on the sluts.
I mean, it was first idea, best idea. Might not have been the best idea.
Let us know what you want to be called. Welcome, everybody. My name is Chibbi.
My name is Rooster.
And this is the Puro Pinche podcast, an opinions podcast where we talk about pop culture, politics, and everything in between. It is Puro Risen.
Puro hated on TikTok.
Puro not giving a fuck.
Puro gonna come back in 2 days.
Puro stronger, better than ever.
Yeah. Puro shitting on the devil.
Puro liking it?
Okay, let's go.
Let's go, people.
We are in here. Thank you all for joining us on the Puro Pinche podcast.
Yeah, I do want to preface that we are recording this on Good Friday because by the time you hear this, none of this might be relevant.
Because we're bad Catholics. Yeah.
That too. Do you get time off for Easter?
Yeah, actually.
You do?
But I'm pretty much off on a Friday anyway. So.
Okay, that makes sense. We also have some special guests in the room. Speaking of teachers.
Yeah, we got teachers in the house. We got
Mr. Estrada.
Hello. I'm actually off. That's why I'm here.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm just happy to be talking to adults for the first time in a long time.
Instead of your usual sixth graders.
Yes. 6, 7. Yeah. Yep.
Adults is a stretch, but
The legal definition.
Mr. Estrada deciding to go ahead and lay down the gauntlet on season 3 and be like, I'm going to be the most featured guest. Fuck you, Paul.
Yeah. Take that, Paul.
Oh, you're reading my mind because that's like Paul's been on a lot.
Not this season.
Oh,
We just started a new season. This is barely episode 4.
Oh.
You're winning.
yeah. That's what I need.
And tied with...
the homie Chris.
Yes. Bring that microphone closer to your fucking mouth.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Put it in your mouth.
I'm always afraid that I'm going to do like the heavy breathing thing on the mic, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a thing.
You mouth breeders. Mouth breathers.
It's definitely a thing.
Says the guy with tiny pathetic. So I'm seeing a sinus specialist right now, and they did a CT scan of my head.
Yeah.
And on the first visit, he was like, "Here's a CT scan of a normal sinus passage. These are your tiny pathetic sinus passages."
Damn,
so I was
baby
like,
nostrils.
"Wow, tiny pathetic. Okay."
Yeah, medical terms.
That's right. I did best the medical system this past week though, because we're gonna do like this surgical procedure where they like put a balloon up my nose.
Oh yeah.
They got to put me under, so that's why it's like surgical. And like the like finance person came in and she's like, "So your co-insurance is 35%, so it's gonna be $3,000, you know, because you know it's a new year, your deductible, yada yada yada." And I was like, "I met my deductible." I pulled it up. I have met my deductible. Okay. And she's like, "Okay. Oh no, this is with your deductible. It's 35%. That's what you're responsible for." And I was like, my insurance says 35% for inpatient. So unless you're keeping me overnight and this is a hospital and I don't know about it, this is in facility.
Good
And it should
for
only
you,
be
man.
$300.
Good for you.
You know what?
Yeah.
And you gotta do that because they'll throw you all the legalese at you, and most people just roll over and take it.
Yeah, they're like, I guess it's $3,000.
Yeah.
That's why I just don't pay it.
Quick little change of address.
Yeah,
real quick.
Which is a valid way to go.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Remove the balloon surgery out of my nose? Fuck you, man.
Turn back time.
Yeah, you didn't hear about me before I walked in here, man? Mr. Fleece these records.
They got my picture on the wall, bro.
I was talking to someone, a poet friend who shall remain nameless just for the sake of anonymity. And she was like, look, I own my car. I own my house. I don't need a new credit card. So what the fuck is a low credit score going to do to me? Nothing.
Yeah.
I ain't paying it.
I've been feeling that more and more since we moved into that house.
Yeah.
Like, what am I worrying about?
Yeah, they're
Like
the ones.
this?
They're the assholes who gave you the credit. Yeah.
You got the house already.
Unless they can repo it or like remove you from it, fuck them.
Yeah. Unless you plan on buying a new car anytime soon. Fuck your credit score.
yeah.
The dentist can't put the wisdom tooth back in my mouth.
Fuck it. Which seems to be the general mentality these days.
Yeah.
Just fuck it. Let it all go to shit. So let's just get into it. We got a lot to cover today. So
We start our podcast with a little section we like to call
nope.
"You Are."
Wrong.
All right.
That malo.
Yeah. So I got the first one
You
here.
ignorant bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
I'm actually gonna skip the first one and jump to the second. The thing I want to talk about is this. It came out, dude. It's a two-parter. So it said, "Don't spit." Okay. There was a doctor who came out on NPR recently. Like they do these Ask a Doctor reels that are pretty fascinating. And one of the things they were talking about is when you brush your teeth afterwards, and when you use mouthwash, do not drink water and like spit out. Because you want the fluoride, you want the cleaning
want it all
properties
to
to
stay
remain
in
in the
there.
mouth,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. Like, do y'all still spit?
I swallow.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Are you gonna
Not in
take
this context.
Are you gonna take this this doctor prescribed wisdom?
Well, I've been doing the like, because I heard that too. And so like I've been doing the like brush and then like just rinsing out with the mouthwash and spitting that way, because it's like it's like a habit.
Well, you're supposed to spit the mouthwash out.
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to drink it.
Yeah.
Don't like go and
don't
But don't re-rinse.
Don't rinse the
Yeah,
clean stuff.
Like you don't rinse with water and then
Yeah.
get all that stuff out. Allegedly, I don't know. Like, I'm not into dental, so I don't.
So
I don't brush my teeth.
I
just eat
historically
candy.
have really bad dental hygiene.
Damn.
Like really bad dental hygiene. Like
You can lie on a podcast, right?
No, like it's gotten better. Okay, I started going to the dentist like 2 years ago.
Oh no, not going to the dentist is a normal thing. No.
But there are times where sometimes days go by.
Oh.
And I forget to brush my teeth. And oftentimes it's because like, I should brush my teeth, but I'm in the middle of my coffee. Or, I'm about to leave the house, which means I'm going to grab an energy drink, and I don't want it to like fuck up the taste of what I'm about to drink or eat. And now if you're telling me that I'm not even supposed to rinse that shit out, you're just digging me deeper into a hole.
Yeah. I think what's helped me with, I guess we're getting into dental advice. What's helped me get better about brushing my teeth is just the notion that I don't have to, it doesn't have to be in the morning at night. Just brush your teeth, whatever, twice. Yeah. Whenever you have time, just brush them.
Just twice.
Yeah. If you remember on the spot, just go do it. And then, you brush your teeth for the day. But I don't use mouthwash that often to think about that.
See, I'm
And
big on
that's-
mouthwash.
Oh, yeah?
Because, the thing about mouthwash is it kills so much bacteria.
You're not one of those like mouthwash without brushing people, are you?
Sometimes. That's when I take the mouth version of the horse bath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I woke up late, so I got a boogie to my first engagement of the day.
Just a quick blah,
spit it out. But I don't re-rinse after I do it. So I keep that minty freshness the whole time. The other reason why the dentist said don't spit after brushing specifically is because the fluoride helps your teeth, which, unless you drink tap water, and is now under the guise and purview of RFK Jr., which he is trying to remove out of our water system, could be a problem. Are you pro fluoride?
Florida?
No,
Yes.
I just missed that.
Fluoride. I don't think I know enough. You know what? Fluoride's never done me wrong this far. So
I don't drink tap water. So
Which kind of comes up to the next thing.
It's just kind of like filter. Like every place you go to now has like a filtered water thing, or like the water
Does
bottle
filtered
dispenser.
water have, like, if you have a water softener in your house?
I don't believe so.
Does that filter out the fluoride? No.
Probably not.
No.
Now
We
that I
are
think
not
about it.
experts.
Because y'all saw this when you helped us move. We have a
water softener.
Water softener, and we have a purifier under the sink.
Yes.
So we have a separate little faucet for drinking
the
water.
reverse
So do we, yeah.
osmosis. So they call it.
I think it's just like a charcoal filter.
Exactly.
But with RFK Jr.'s hate on fluoride and specifically trying to remove it out of tap water, it dawned on me. I was like, I don't know many tap water drinkers besides myself.
Wait, so what's the detriment though? What's the claim?
The claim is he
gives you
makes many
autism.
claims.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
On one hand, he believes fluoride is the cause of the rise of autism. He believes fluoride
Lower IQ.
is creating sort of lower IQ issues that health issues that we don't even know about, but he doesn't know either because he's making it up.
Yeah, nothing to do with terrible education system.
No, not at all.
Mostly fluoride.
So brush your teeth, people, and don't spit. The second thing on Nope, You're Wrong. Space is a scam?
No. What?
Okay, you make the case.
No, you make the case.
So recently, Katy Perry.
You think space is a scam.
I absolutely think space is a scam now. I'm on the opposite end of this. I mean, defund NASA. No, actually, don't defund NASA. It doesn't mean it doesn't. I'm not saying we shouldn't be learning about space, potentially sending explorers into space. What we shouldn't be doing is sending celebrities into space, and we should not go to space ever. Fuck space.
Okay, that doesn't make it a scam.
No, it's a scam. No, here's the scammy part.
Okay.
So all this rocket ship billionaire bullshit, that's the scam.
That is the scam.
They're getting so much government money, and even with Elon, as I've done my little minor internet research on this, scientists have basically come out and been like, "Yeah, colonizing Mars is stupid."
Yes.
They're like, there's no real fundamental way to do it. You're talking about multiple generations have to be working in concert to make that a thing.
Yeah.
But then on top of the fact that there's just nothing on Mars.
We can't even keep the same administration for 8 years in a row.
Right. So it's a literal scam where they're just getting billions of dollars. So I'm saying shut that shit down.
I think you're right on that.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with that.
So
the concept of space, though, is not a scam.
The concept of
space exists.
commercial space
It is
travel.
there.
Yes.
Right.
Commercial space travel is stupid.
But I think space is this weird siren, if you will. That's always we love the moon. We love looking at the stars. We draw fucking constellations in the sky.
That's
for
right.
why?
That's right.
Why do we do that? Because I think we want to be out there.
It's a fascination.
And I'm telling people, let's tone this shit down. All right, let's relax. Let's understand that it's up there. It's glorious. It's beautiful. It's a scam.
It's a centuries long fascination because it's like something so unattainable that we can actually see, right? The ocean deep is another really unattainable place, but we can't see that. We don't see it every single day. Like the sky,
shrouded in
space,
mystery.
We see it.
The ocean is the shadow work we all need to do on ourselves.
Shut the fuck up.
No,
But you're right.
I heard Neil deGrasse. He was talking about how they want to reconstitute Mars as an inhabitable place. It's like, well, if we're trying to do that, why not make why don't we slow down the uninhabitability of this
planet,
the planet that we're on right now?
Yeah.
Why are we so focused on this dead planet when we
sounds like it's just as expensive.
Yeah, no, it sounds a little scammy. I can agree with that.
I think it is scammy, and then conspiracy theorist me also thinks that they have already discovered the asteroid that's hurling towards Earth, and that's why they keep doing it. Not because they're trying to make it inhabitable for the human race, but for the couple hundred that are going to get the ability to fly to Mars when that asteroid is about to hit Earth.
Fuck, that might actually be something.
You know?
We got to call Neil deGrasse Tyson. Always welcome on the pod. Thank you.
All right, let me jump in here since the rest of these are yours, I think. Oh, wow. Okay, you switched gears. Did you all know that the Texas Lotto basically got Ocean's 11? Ocean's 11 of sorts.
Break it down.
So earlier this year, last year, I don't know. In the recent past, there was a new law that was passed that made online lotto ticket purchasing legal and possible. So you could buy your lotto tickets online so long as you had the machines that could then print them, all that jazz. So because of this, there was a whole gang of Australians, and I'm going to preface this by saying we're an opinion podcast, not a news podcast. I may get the details wrong, but Australians that essentially were funded by this millionaire to just buy every possible combination of lottery tickets in order to win. Yeah. And they won.
Of course.
And so now the state of Texas is like, wait a second. You can't do that. You rigged the system. And you know what? I'm kind of on the state of Texas's side, right? This is Texas Lotto.
Ooh, really?
For Texas. Ooh. For Texans.
Wow. Okay? I disagree.
You want to win the Texas Lotto? You got to buy that at a Texas gas station.
Okay, so are you saying that the Texas lottery system should backtrack on this new system?
No. They won. They fucking won.
No, I mean just shut the system down.
Shut the online thing. Okay. Shut the online thing.
Got it.
Anyone can buy it. You don't have to be a Texan, but you got to buy it at a Texas gas station.
I agree. There's nothing better than like when a gas station, like wherever it's at, it could be in bumfuck anywhere, Texas, or it can be smack dab in the hood. Yeah. I love it when like that's the news story. Like this was the location, and it's just always some like
in Three Rivers, Texas.
Yeah, it's just some guy who just is running his shop, and you know he didn't win the money.
Then he gets a nice big sign that says "Winning Lotto ticket bought here."
Hell yeah, it does.
Love it, love it. I'm not okay with a bunch of Australians in a basement printing out thousands of tickets for themselves.
No, I always rock with the Aussies on everything. Keep doing what you're doing, Australia.
Not when it's bankrolled by a fucking millionaire British person.
Yeah, but he's ripping off billionaire Texas assholes. No. The Texas Lotto is corrupt.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
It's pretty corrupt.
Everything's corrupt.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, we want proof of residency to buy a Texas Lotto ticket?
No, I'm just saying you just got to buy it while you're in Texas.
Look, here's the deal. I hate getting stuck behind the Lotto ticket guy. You're there, you know.
Fuck that guy.
It's fucking 6 a.m. You're on your way to work. You have just enough money to get your energy drink, maybe like, you know, a fucking donut.
8 on 5.
You know, you're like, you got 5 minutes to get to work, and then you got the guy in there with his Lotto ticket, like, I'd like to, could I get 2 of the Texas two-step, please? And then he's looking over the counter. I don't know.
Because they're not just buying one ticket.
No.
And then a couple scratchers.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And then they want to scratch them and cash them in right there. And it's like, dude. Like,
because they don't want to get back in line. They want their
and it's the same thing.
$5
and
now.
Look, I'm going to go on a little bit of like just real quick. You know what? The people, if you have more than 5 people, do not go through a drive-thru. The drive-thru is for me.
That's a hot take, but I kind of stand with that. If you got more than 5 people in your vehicle, bring your ass inside with that order.
The other day I went to there's this like little sliders place like right outside of downtown.
Oh yeah, I love that place.
So fucking good. And
they're open late.
And I was in the drive-thru to get my my little 2-piece and whatnot. And the car in front of me was taking for fucking ever. And then I know why. 3 bags full of sliders come through the drive-thru. By the time I get mine, they've been sitting there for fucking ever, and so they're cold as shit. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Savvy sliders.
You couldn't have asked them to just step to the side so I could get my fucking sliders hot.
Right.
I'm with you on this.
There we go.
Next one.
So I saw the movie Anora.
Okay.
More like Abora. That movie. So Dom gave it the best sort of analogy. She's like, this movie is like Adventures in Babysitting on fucking meth. And that's exactly what the movie is, and I can't see it any other way. The main actress, Mickey Stellar, performance.
Yeah.
What performance, man? It reminded me of Poor Things, where you're just watching her fuck for like the same guy. Can we at least make it different guys? Because that guy sucked too.
Yeah.
It was just not good.
It was just one giant red flag after another where it's like, how do you not fucking see what is happening? This movie could have been over like 20 minutes ago if you could just been like, this is...
Did you see it at all?
No, I haven't seen it.
Let me just give you the rundown of like what would be the climactic part of any film, like the last third, to half of the film. It's literally her in a car just riding around town. Have you seen someone? With and that's it. Yeah. And it's like, no, he's not here. It's like, fuck, he's not here. Okay, let's go somewhere else. Have you seen it? No, he's not here. Fuck, why wouldn't he not be at the yogurt shop?
Yeah. And did she go through the drive-thru?
She should have. Well, there was more than 5 people in the car, so they did the right thing and went inside.
Yeah, there we go.
So JR, you saw it?
I did it. We saw it. I think we were trying to catch up on as many Oscar movies as we could.
Oh, so it was an Oscar nomination.
It was the Oscar winner.
That's important.
That's why
I thought it was just like some new movie that came out. No, okay.
It had a lot of hype, and I think that's why I bring it up, because the hype was well overblown.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Pinto had the same Poor Things comment that you had. Like, if Emma Stone won for Poor Things, then she has to win for this movie.
During the Oscars, my parents were like texting me being like, what is this movie Anora? And we're like, you wouldn't like it. And they're like, why? Mucha nalga.
I mean, but then it does something annoying that a lot of movies nowadays do, is that it just takes fucking forever to get going. Like, for half the movie you're waiting, like, so where's this going? What's the plot? What's the problem? Like, you know,
is someone gonna get shot?
It did feel like once it went going, it like put that pedal down and it went really fast, but then it got to the like, have you seen this guy?
Yeah.
Have you seen this guy? Have you seen this guy? Part of the movie.
Yeah, and then lo and behold, guess what? It didn't work out between them.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
In other entertainment, nope, you're wrong. The Pit.
Are you taking it back?
More like the fucking shit. That movie was awesome. I have a new profound respect for the healthcare industry. Shout out to the homie Chris. Listen, actually, I'm gonna say something that might be controversial.
Okay.
The Pit is to like individuals such as myself what the Bear is to individuals who wish they could cook.
Okay.
Because it's stress to the max.
Yeah.
But the difference between the Bear versus the Pit that bothers me is the Pit, and shout out to people in the industry, I love you, but relax. Y'all really take this whole like it's that stressful. It's like I get it, but then on top of that, you're working with a bunch of dicks. It's like I get that too. Why doesn't anyone just bring some emotional intelligence into this? That's all I'm saying,
Chris.
Well, no, but in the healthcare industry, it makes sense. It's life or death, literally.
Yeah.
So, have you seen The Pit at all?
No, just clip it.
Has anyone else seen The Pit at all? Fire that bitch up.
Okay.
Apparently, it's the most like true to the occupation accurate representation.
You mentioned that last week when you were knocking down Paradise.
Oh yeah.
So Scrubs is not the most accurate.
Not anymore.
You mean not everyone is fucking each other like on Grey's Anatomy?
No. But
I think before The Pit, like I'd never seen it, but people said that Nurse Jackie was like the closest representation of like what it is. Great. But yeah, I watched The Pit. It's pretty hectic, especially that ER setting. I've only done my clinicals in there, and it gets pretty wild. But a lot of the times, like especially like the demeanor and the humor, it's pretty spot on from what I've seen. So I got to catch up though, because
it goes off. The one thing I will say about The Pit is it does something that they do almost more in like serialized television, where it's like, okay, you are just adding more to this like narrative, like then this goes wrong and then this goes wrong and then and you're like fuck. But when I say the emotional depth of this movie show is bro, every episode I'm crying. There's something because I don't want to spoil anything.
Here's a question. Why do you think that? I mean, why is that? Because let's see. I try to imagine like what the Bear, the Pit version of education is.
I thought the same thing.
And I'm thinking of like
doesn't exist.
Well, no, it doesn't exist. But like, if I try to imagine it, like, okay, I'm imagining all the kids chatter.
It's Abbott
and all that. Like, but it's already
that's the closest.
But it's already stressing me the fuck out thinking about all the side. Right. So why do people like this shit so much?
I'll tell you this: with The Pit, it made me realize that one, and we all for the most part perform poetry like often, and some of the best things that we enjoy are the ones that hit you in the feels, like this bare chest fucking donkey kick you in the chest with some hurt. A lot of that is in The Pit. And it does the one thing that I love about The Pit that I don't like about the Bear is while I feel like the Bear romanticizes the stress, every nurse and doctor in The Pit is just like, when will my shit fucking end? And it's just like they're just like
Corey's been watching it, but he'll have these moments where like, okay, I need to pause. I need to walk away. I'm triggered. I'm so triggered by this.
Yeah, so, you got to take a break from it sometimes because you're like, oh shit.
You feel like you're clocking into your shift. Like that's it.
See,
I also realized no.
It was similar. So we started Black Mirror. The new season of Black Mirror.
I just saw that first episode.
Yeah. So after the first episode, Corey was like, I'm not watching this. I'm not watching any more of these. I don't need to spend my free time getting depressed about shit that looks like it could actually happen.
That's already happening.
Or is already happening. Yes, that first episode.
It just reminded me of someone that has to take medication for depression or something.
Exactly.
It's like it doesn't have to be a fucking. It's It's happening.
Yeah, it's currently
Oh
happening.
my gosh! And oh shit! That's the show. That's the episode that I chose to watch on my relaxing night right before the star test. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's valid.
All right.
All right.
The
Last one.
last thing on the Nope You're Wrong, and this is why it's last on the list, because I think this requires some litigation, all right?
Okay.
Condiments,
Yes.
ketchup, ranch, mustard, all these things.
Relish.
I think we need to have
Honey
a
mustard.
community or some sort of panel discussion on condiments.
okay.
Okay.
And start kicking some of them the fuck out. All right, listen. And you know who might be top of the list? Ketchup. Ketchup might have.
That's a hot take.
Because here's the thing about ketchup. It's
it goes
basically
You
to
want to
sugar.
pick out
everything.
the Superman of condiments.
You do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
here's the thing. If the food's not steady
Well,
on
what
its
if it's
own,
Superman
Sriracha,
anyway,
what if it's
so-
sriracha ketchup?
see, but now you're talking. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is why we need to have the conversation.
Spicy ketchup.
Because
Oh, yeah.
because curry ketchup is awesome. If you've ever had that, it's
Never had
usually
it.
like a German thing. Well, it's super easy. Just also if you got curry powder at the house, throw it in your ketchup, and it takes it to a whole new level.
I got red curry paste. Just
Yeah.
So you're talking more like, should we discontinue
Well,
ketchup?
I just feel like we're not talking about it.
So are we trying to reinvent the wheel? Is that what we're trying to do?
No, we're trying to establish what the wheel is first, because I feel like just eons have gone
Look.
of just us taking fucking Heinz at their word, Hunt's at their word, and I'm saying
no. The wheel is ketchup, and the wheel is condiments, and all the spokes in the wheel are ketchup, Polynesian sauce, Chick-fil-A sauce,
No, 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 no,
mayonnaise,
no.
Relish,
Let's- look.
barbecue,
When you're
ranch,
saying mustard.
back it up.
mustard, Dijon
Back it
mustard.
up.
That's the shiny spoke in the wheel.
This is what I'm thinking. Think about it culturally. What cultures have their condiments with their food? You have Greeks who love tzatziki sauce.
Yes.
It's great.
Their yogurt sauce.
Mexican food. We
With
got
salsa.
on everything. Green, red. We see that's what that's like. Ideas came to the table
Yeah.
when these things happened, and then somewhere along the line in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Mr. Hines said, "Guess what? Let's just give them." Tomato paste with sugar, and we rolled with it. We put it on our burgers, our hot dogs, our French fries, and everything. To me, it's starting to become ubiquitous, like Coca-Cola. Where if we don't take a step back and be like, "Hey, man, this is really just bad for you," then we're just gonna blindly go, and then also kind of champion it more than it deserves.
I don't like ketchup in
Fair.
general. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on this. I'm more of a mayonnaise kind of person.
When we talk about
fuck
empty
my health.
calories, man, like French fries might be a bad meal.
It's not
I
a
love
meal,
them.
first of all.
But
I'm not a big French fry guy, but
tater tots,
love tots.
tots for
Yeah.
days.
But I like to get like corn dogs and like get the ketchup and the mustard, mix them with that little weird orange thing,
Oh,
with the
wow.
stick.
Disgusting.
Yeah, love it.
Ketchup and mayo. Love. I make my own mayo these days.
Nice.
It's very
With
delicious.
the price of eggs?
There's only one egg.
Oh,
One egg for a whole fucking jar of
If you
mayonnaise.
could cut a single condiment out of this wheel, cut a spoke. Which one do you think's got to go?
Relish. No. I take that back. Take that back.
Big relish is
Mustard.
going to come for you.
Mustard.
Mustard?
I hate mustard.
I do like mustard though. Sorry,
Dijon mustard. Delicious.
Dijon mustard is good.
Regular mustard.
Don't care for
Ass.
Dijon mustard.
And understand that this is a full spectrum. You
Yeah.
can say sweet and sour sauce. Like, I don't care. I like
Heinz 57. I've never had it, so I'm just gonna cut
clip
that
it.
out.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I
Cut the
don't
big
need it.
dog at the head. Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. What does it pair with? I don't know.
What are these 57
Yeah, what
ingredients?
57 what?
Yeah. I don't taste 57
You have
flavors.
to be
in it.
57
I
to
taste
eat it.
tomato and sugar.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. We're there.
Okay.
All right, let's get into our 15 minutes for the bullshit or shit that's killing me. And you know what? I saw you kind of left this in the show notes from last week, and I just rephrased it. I liked our model, so that's what we're going to do again. I've got a nice little recap.
Okay. So we'll all fire off. Chibby's just going to
Yeah.
tell us things that are happening and in a word or two.
If you don't want to hear about the bullshit, fast forward about 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, I'm going to fire off and in like a sentence or less, give me your thoughts. Here we go. First of all, let's start with Congress. On April 10th, the House narrowly approved a Republican budget blueprint 216 to 214 that sets the stage for extending Trump-era tax cuts and increasing border enforcement funding. The resolution allows for up to $5 trillion in tax cuts and raises the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. Critics warn it could add $5.8 trillion to the deficit over the next decade.
Billionaires shouldn't exist.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. They're up to something for sure.
Whatever happened to checks and balances?
Next, the SAVE Act passed in the House on April 10th. The House passed the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, requiring documentary proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote in federal elections.
I feel like this is totally a swipe at black women to harm them from their voting power.
Women in general. Period.
But no, specifically black women.
We've been over this. This is just another poll tax. It's another, it's denying a fundamental right to vote. That's what it is.
This is the one where even if you change your last name, you can't vote, right? So
Your driver's, your identification has to match your birth certificate.
yeah, no, that's bullshit.
Absolute bullshit, and coming for trans people as well. Then in the judicial authority, there's now a bill to limit nationwide injunctions passed. The House approved a legislation restricting federal district judges from issuing nationwide injunctions, limiting their ruling to parties directly involved in a case.
Cocks everywhere.
Checks and balances.
I spaced out. I hear what you
That's
said.
good. No, that's fine. That's how it rolls.
Ukraine Support Act introduced. Representative Greg Meeks introduced legislation to provide security and reconstruction aid to Ukraine and impose sanctions on Russia.
Viva Ukraine.
Viva Ukraine.
Viva Ukraine.
Blue and yellow forever. Trade Review Act proposed. Senators Maria Cantwell and Chuck Grassley introduced the Trade Review Act, requiring presidential tariffs to receive congressional approval after 60 days.
This might be the nicest thing Chuck Grassley ever did. Fuck Chuck Grassley.
It's probably the nicest thing Congress has been doing in a minute.
I have no idea what's going on. I'm sorry, guys.
Glad somebody has some balls.
Yeah.
Now on to the Trump administration. First of all, there's a defiance of court orders. The administration has refused to comply with Supreme Court mandate to return Gilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland resident wrongfully deported to El Salvador.
There's probably a deeper conspiracy going on.
I'm just saying that if my 8th graders can understand that the president is supposed to follow a order from the Supreme Court, then I think everybody else is just being willingly blind.
I don't know why we are enabling criminal behavior.
And they're coming for you next. Press access controversy after revoking the Associated Press's White House press credentials for not adopting the term Gulf of America. A federal appeals court expressed skepticism over the administration's jurisdiction, suggesting potential First Amendment violations.
Stop interviewing Trump. It's always stupid.
First Amendment forever.
Let's not change names of stuff.
The administration froze over 2.3. But we'll get into more detail about this later. But the administration froze over 2.3 billion in federal funds towards Harvard University over alleged civil rights violations, and is reviewing the tax-exempt status of advocacy groups like Crew, perceived as political adversaries.
Never thought I'd say it, but Viva Harvard.
I'm not happy to be on Harvard's side.
Yeah. Apparently it's the fluoride, not the education.
The dictatorship has begun. Law firms under scrutiny. An executive order targeted the law firm Sussman Godfrey, suspending its security clearances and threatening federal contracts following its involvement in litigation against Trump allies.
When they make a movie about this in 10 years, I hope all you motherfuckers who are like, who would have known, fucking knew that we were telling you.
Okay, this one, you said words. And I didn't follow.
Yeah, no, I just really like the people who are like really doubling down, like sticking their ground, like, yeah, no, he's doing the thing. It's like, he's not.
Did nobody see V for Vendetta? The administration intensified immigration enforcements, including plans to militarize part of southern border and proposals offering financial incentives for self-deportation.
Fascism is alive and well.
It's already militarized.
Yeah, same.
What the fuck? An agreement between the IRS and DHS facilitates data sharing to aid in deportations, raising concerns about privacy and due process.
Fuck them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So which is it? Do immigrants not pay taxes, or do they pay taxes and that's why we need their IRS files? Endangered Species Act rollback. A proposal aims to eliminate protections against habitat degradation for threatened species, aligning with efforts to ease regulations on businesses.
This is why they want to move to Mars.
I like how this administration just goes off the prompt. What is the worst thing I can do today?
What would Steve Irwin say about this? You monsters.
Capitalism at its best. Speaking of capitalism, executive orders granted a 2-year exemption from EPA rules for coal plants, aiming to revitalize the industry.
Fuck it.
And then spill some oil on the manatees while you're at it.
I got the black lung pop.
Does nobody like to breathe? A hiring freeze, moving over to executive orders and governments, a hiring freeze on civilian executive branch workers was extended, affecting federal staffing and operations.
They're probably gonna get a fat fucking check once Trump is gone eventually. When they sue the shit out of the federal government.
I, for one, I'm not excited for the next plane crash.
Yeah.
Enjoy your paid time off, I guess. Orders were signed to boost commercial fishing and lobster harvesting, particularly in the Pacific.
Shrimp and lobster are just bugs of the ocean.
Happy Good Friday.
Yeah. Jesus Friday.
Crawfish are the best bugs of the ocean. New directives aim to ensure cost-effective solutions in federal contracts and office space management.
Yeah, but they also rolled back segregation, so fuck them.
I got nothing.
Yeah, same. I'm with JR.
Lost on that one. And a new order from the Trump administration took effect yesterday, requiring documentation of cash transactions along the U.S.-Mexico border. Anyone who visits a money transfer station in the area will have to present identification to send and collect funds ranging from $200 to $10,000.
Viva Mexico.
Shit, I gotta call my mom.
Yeah.
Why are they coming from Iowa lately? Voter ID, onto voting and civil rights. The administration proposed stricter voter ID requirements across states, a move critics could argue would suppress voter turnout.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Critics, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, someone's trying to steal an election.
I think I already said this one. Oh, President Trump indicated the U.S. might withdraw from mediating the Ukraine-Russia peace deal if parties are uncooperative.
I didn't hear you.
Well, it's news to me that I've been mediating anything so far.
Exactly.
If you haven't figured it out, I don't watch the news.
The administration is engaged in trade talks with Europe and China, aiming to finalize deals within the month.
Baby Hands is a bad businessman.
I think he would have learned by now that he can't break China. China's not bucking.
Go Power Rangers.
6 bankruptcies? 7? And then finally, a federal judge has paused plans for mass layoffs at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, citing legal concerns, quote unquote.
I like products to be safe.
Mm-hmm. I like workers to be safe. Question mark.
I like workers and products to also be safe.
Fuck a credit score.
Also, before you do that, all of this, shit is killing me. There was a note, you're wrong, that I forgot, but I feel like it fits right here.
Okay.
We need to name eras as we're living in them. This was something. So
not like afterwards.
Yes, because I think that's part of the problem why we're losing so bad is because we have yet to name and then potentially brand and market this horrific time that we're in. So
this isn't going to be known as the dumb ages.
See, you got it already. You got the dark. That's exactly what I'm saying. We need the dark. That you have the dark ages. You have the Bronze Age, which was also apparently really bad that I learned about. Despite how lovely bronze is. You have the Troubles, which happened in Ireland. Shout out to all the Ireland homies.
Always
but
welcome
y'all
on
were
the pod.
going through some shit. So something like the Troubles or something like that for this era. But I think the dumb age.
The dumb ages
might be it.
That's it.
Because we need something to sort of like qualify why shit's bad. But then also so that people can be, because once you name something, you can also better understand what side of things people are on. Mm-hmm. Because I think that's already starting to happen. If you like look at the news, there's been a lot of like, let's go visit farmers who now regret their vote for Trump. And it's kind of like, no, fuck them. Like still. And that's part of the problem with this thing that's happening. Not like there's some Latinos for Trump. They're like, I can't believe, no, fuck you,
We
man.
told you.
We told you. And all the haters who are on TikTok, fuck you. All right, anyway, we can keep moving.
All right, a couple of things in case you missed it. One, Zuck's on trial. You who don't watch the news, did you hear about this?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
They're trying to break up Meta.
essentially, Meta is on trial currently for allegedly trying to squash competition and becoming a monopoly.
They have evidence.
What they're trying, well, it's
emails literally like, let's squash Instagram.
It is. But what they have to prove is that they have a monopoly. And what they are trying to prove is this idea of what was it? Social networking platforms? Yeah, social networking platforms. So platforms in which you connect with friends and family. And what they're trying to show is that that Meta owns too many of them, and that's why it's a monopoly. So Facebook, social net, friends and family. WhatsApp, friends and family. They're trying to say that TikTok is friends and family. And maybe when they acquired it, it was friends and family, but now it's just one giant fucking ad. And then the other ones are Snapchat and some other one that I don't remember.
Meta owns Snapchat?
TikTok?
No. But that's why
that's one of
they're saying that like out of these, Meta owns the majority of them.
Okay.
And that's why it's a monopoly and it needs to be broken
they
up.
definitely own the most popular platforms for sure.
And Meta's just saying, like, yes, it was squashing competition, but it was also saving us money. We just didn't want to develop a platform like Instagram. That would have taken us a year, so why not just buy them?
Mm-hmm. But see, that's cap. As the youth would say. No, that's 100% bullshit. Because one, they have emails that from the high ups in Facebook sort of detailing like, yeah, this could potentially be a problem. It's growing in popularity, specifically with Instagram. I don't think Facebook, without acquiring Instagram, could have beat Instagram. And I actually think that's a big part of this monopoly conversation, where because through Instagram they were then basically able to rip off and copy Snapchat. But that doesn't happen. And then they basically ripped off TikTok.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where like Facebook was never going to try to beat Instagram, but they would have had to develop their own platform to compete with Instagram. And so rather than spending the money and the time on that, they were like, well, let's just buy it.
Yeah, and you weren't going to be able to compete with Instagram anyway because it would have been just nobody wants to transition to an almost identical app. They're already on one.
Look at what's happening with Threads.
Or Blue Sky. That's valid because how many companies have that option? Like, oh, we'll just buy it. If we can't clone it, we'll just buy it.
Yeah.
So I think that in and of itself is a huge competitive advantage.
Yeah.
And that just got bigger because they bought them.
The problem with the case is that it hinges on the prosecutors being able to prove that they have a monopoly. And one, Instagram isn't part of this category that they're trying to create, and two, they're only looking at it from a U.S. standpoint. So like that's basically cutting out the majority of WhatsApp users because like the U.S. doesn't really use WhatsApp.
No.
It's mostly people outside of the U.S. And if you're not factoring that in, you can't really prove that you have a lion's share of the market.
I think also a big part of this conversation that's interesting to me is that Zuckerberg donated like I think 100 million or a lot of money to the Trump
25 million
to the Trump inauguration fund, was standing on stage with him at the inauguration, and still Trump is letting his boy get sued. That's kind of gnarly, bro.
So we'll see how that plays out.
After Zuck let him back on the app. Yeah.
It's a bit of payback. It's a bit of like, we're going to squeeze it out and then maybe at the end something might change. I don't know.
I think what's happening too is we just let the social media phenomenon to just kind of get out of hand, and now we're trying to rein it back in. We trying to define it, trying to regulate it. It's just too big to kind of wrangle back in right now.
We already squeezed the toothpaste out of the tube.
Yeah, because I think in the early
no going back.
2000s, like 20 teens is when like all the social media platforms kind of like came to fruition, and TikTok is an anomaly because they just kind of came out of nowhere and gained a lot of popularity, but that was because like people were posting whatever content they wanted and whatever. But I don't think that there's room to bring in any new platforms, so it's kind of hard to say like, hey, there are competitors out there because you just have what you have right now. So.
And like Twitter kind of fell off, turned into X, right? And what did we get? We got Threads
and
through
Blue Sky.
Instagram. Well, I mean, Blue Sky is right. It's just, but I mean, I don't know who uses Blue Sky. I mean, Threads even, I don't even know that it's taken off like Twitter would, but that's where the competition came by.
If I post something to Instagram, it just says, do you also want to post it to Threads? It's like, yeah, I just click a button. I don't see it.
Facebook now, if your post is less than, a certain amount of characters, it'll automatically post it to your Threads. And I was like, yeah. Anytime that I'm scrolling on Facebook and there's something interesting and I'm like, ooh, let me see more. Would you like to open Threads? Oh, no, I don't want to open Threads.
I think
I just won't read it.
Threads is a real bummer.
Yeah. It could have been great.
Blue Sky is not bad. And Blue Sky is interesting because Blue Sky almost feels like old Twitter, not in like the bad way, because old Twitter used to be the Wild West. Man. It was on that. I was like, oh, there's JR. Yeah. It was great. But Blue Sky is interesting because what I do seem to find, and not to get too like conspiracy theory on it, maybe it's the algorithm and the push for certain type of content to go to the front of the line, but in Blue Sky it's not like that. So I see more just news articles that I don't see on any meta platforms. Because they don't regulate it like that. They don't have that sort of algorithm. And so it just kind of exists. The only problem is like, there's just not enough people there.
Yeah.
So
it's just kind of bleh.
even if you go viral, it's like, 20 people.
And what is there? It's just like the branded content. It's just like the companies or little social media managers trying to get in on a fun meme that this is like, so this is just a commercial.
And
one big long
Instagram
commercial.
And Instagram is just one giant ad.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Facebook too. I feel like everything is an ad.
And that's also the argument that they're making, is that by stifling out the competition, they essentially made a worse product, right? Because they didn't have to compete with anyone. Now it's just ads galore, and they don't have to change it because there's no one to compete with.
Or even posts from people I don't follow.
Yeah.
Like I get
Constant.
so much.
Well, unless you're watching stories, like my actual feed is nothing but like, you know, you might like this. And it's like, you know, a frog, you know, jumping in a lady's face. You know?
Let's just go back to our message groups.
Yes.
There we go.
The text message group.
Let's
is where
bring
it's
back
at.
AOL Messenger.
Yeah.
MSN Messenger for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see each other at 8 p.m. tonight.
Well, speaking of other billionaires that donated to Donald Trump, Starbase, which is the SpaceX base, I guess, down by Brownsville, Texas, is trying to incorporate itself into a city and become an actual city because they claim that they have enough people and all of that, and they want to govern themselves. With that also, they're trying to take ownership of the beach next to Starbase, and that's the crux of it all. In Texas, we have a law that says that all public beaches are open 24/7 and need to be available to the public. And if you need to close the beach for whatever reason, you have to petition the Capitol, and it's a whole process. And so what they're trying to do is incorporate it into a city, say that beach is part of the city, and only the mayor of that city needs to approve of closure of a beach.
And who's the mayor of that city?
No one yet, but I'm sure it's going to be someone in the back pocket of Mr. Musk so
Elon
that he
Musk
can
never
launch his
stops,
25. Because I think that's what the thing. They had something like 10 launches planned for the year, and then they were like, no, we want to do 25. And then they're like, oh, shit, that's a lot of red tape we have to. Why don't we just become a city and own the beach?
You ever seen Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah.
The Zoltan dudes.
Yeah.
Like that's what I imagine like people at Starbase would be like. Just foil suits.
Colted out.
Oh man. And their leader would be worse. Or not their leader, their
What's
mayor.
worse, you work for Elon Musk and like kind of have to believe his bullshit because the check has his name on it, or you're just some guy who wants to hobnob him in the worst way. And so you do so on the internet.
Hey.
Oh man, I would hate to be the hobnob guy. Like, you know.
I know.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Just the word hobnob. And I'm like, that sounds worse.
Yeah. That sounds rough.
Because also, like, when you look at it from, like, the job perspective, like, SpaceX is kind of at the forefront of a lot of technology, and there's a lot of people that spent a lot of money on degrees that they're trying to pay back now. And it's like, well, they've got jobs.
There's only so many jobs at NASA.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, if it was anyone but Elon, I wouldn't hate SpaceX as a concept.
Yeah.
But I hate SpaceX. Also, fuck it up. Oh no, I do got it. I got it back. I think what's also important about this story is people need to understand that right now, if Elon were to make this happen, where essentially his job site becomes its own town, and it probably has happened already, like in certain places. I would imagine if we did some research on that. But this is also still goes back to that problem of now you have a voting body of a state that is now kind of controlled by this billionaire. And I think what we sometimes have that conversation about should billionaires exist, and it seems like it's mostly 50-50 when you really break it down, because there's still a lot of people who think like, I could be a billionaire one day. It's like, you're probably not.
Isn't that sort of what goes on with for example, like the Mormon church, the Scientology people, like they have their own little compounds, and
I don't think they own a city yet, but definitely the suburbs of Austin are essentially Tesla company towns at this point, because their warehouse or offices or whatever is out there.
But in terms of, like you're saying, of political control, right? Like they vote as a block.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
So I see that.
And that was what the like residents of the area were saying. It's like there's no like 80% of the people that live in this area are employed by SpaceX. So there's no point in me even going to vote against this because it's gonna pass.
Yeah,
because we don't.
But
have
then
a
it's
voice.
just another avenue. I mean, Elon has clearly shown that he's trying to get his hands into government, like without running for fucking office.
You've seen Don't Look Up, right?
Yeah.
He's reminding me of that like crazy billionaire person, just kind of like aloof and being like, look at all what my money is doing. And
He's literally the reason why billionaires shouldn't exist. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think people need to now also start thinking in the next 5 to 10 years that we're going to be asking, should trillionaires exist? Because that's their plan.
Yeah.
Like their plan is to move towards trillionaire status.
Yeah. Did you see that clip where like they were while they were negotiating the whole like tax bill that just passed? It started with Elizabeth Warren and then a bunch of other people just being like, okay, can we agree that no one that makes over $1 million should be taxed, should be given a tax break? No? Okay. What about no one that makes more than $10 million should be given a tax break? No? What about no one that makes more than $100 million? No, they get tax breaks too? What about $1 billion? They also get tax breaks. Okay. All right. You're showing your colors. We get it. Well, moving on to a bit of back and forth news. So there's been a lot of news about universities in conflict or bending the knee to said administration. I think last week Columbia came out and was like, okay, we will comply by your demands so that we can keep getting money. But this week, Harvard was like, fuck your demands. We reserve the right to stay autonomous. And then also recently, the Texas legislature passed a bill that essentially stripped, I think it was UT, maybe it was all Texas public schools, I don't know, but stripped their power to basically govern themselves. So where do we stand on higher education?
Gentlemen.
I guess the obvious one is glad to see somebody standing up for proper freedom of speech and you know what that actually is supposed to mean as opposed to I just don't like what you're saying about me. But it's gnarly. It's everything, you know, once it kind of compounds on top of each other, it just kind of makes you want to scream and run, right? Especially because, you know, higher education tends to be the place where, you know, you kind of go to get into what you want to study, the way you want to pursue it, the way you want to pursue knowledge, right? And it just feels like a step closer to, okay, now we're going to dictate what you, not what you're just going to say, but what you're going to learn in this institution.
Yeah, and there seems to be an issue with them trying to, you know, keep people from having access to a certain level of education, right? And so, I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, like, well, like they're trying to dismantle the Department of Education, you know, they're trying to, what is it, like they're trying to lower the working age, you know, and they're trying to keep, you know, people at the bottom, very at the bottom, to kind of like, you know, they say create more jobs, but what they're really doing is they're like, you know, really dumbing down the labor force so that they don't complain when they have to sew together clothes and
so that
like
they don't have the capacity to pay attention enough because they're just trying to feed their families.
Yeah, because anybody who's gone through a program knows that, you know, it's not just something that you sign up for and pay and go and you get your degree, right? There's a certain coming of age process that happens where you realize, oh shit, this is all on me. If I'm going to get this done, then I have to figure out how I'm going to get it done, right? And that is in its own right part of that learning experience in higher education because there's nobody who's making you go anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you limit people's access to it or you limit the funding and the programs that they have available for people to, you know, pursue, like JR was saying, whatever they want to pursue, then you limit their ability to experience life for what it could be.
Yeah.
Right. And so all these, there makes no more room for new millionaires, new billionaires, which we say shouldn't really be a thing. But those people who are at the top, you know, they want to stay there and they want to stay there with all their friends. They're like, these are the people we like. You know, we don't want a billionaire, you know, who comes up and, you know, doesn't watch The Pit or like, I don't know, doesn't agree with something that we like, right? We don't want controversy. We just all want to speak the same language, and that's what they're trying to do. You know?
I think, you know, going off that, it wasn't too long ago that we were talking about how, the job market is in a way saturated with degrees, right? And degrees could have been a form that were invented to kind of gatekeep access to better jobs, better pay, right? And then people of color, people of different socioeconomic backgrounds, different genders started to get access to these degrees. So I see that for sure, where we're just trying to roll it back to what it was supposed to be originally, where only certain classes have access to these certifications and degrees that actually get you up in the ladder of the socioeconomic ladder.
Yeah. More than anything, too, what this is showing is just how much control the government is trying to have over education. Because as much as they fight against the quote unquote indoctrination, that's exactly what they want to do, right? Is just make sure that what they are teaching is aligned with their mission and their agenda and what they're trying to push forward, and stifle free thought and free discussion, or any discussion whatsoever. Like, there's no room for debate in the kind of world that they are trying to build.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna say two things on it. One, I the first thing I'm gonna say is I think the other thing that the college experience provides for young people is their sort of first glimpse into what a social society would be. Not necessarily socialism, but you pay into a university via your tuition, via however it is, and then they gain access. The conversation gets reduced to just thinking about it in terms of like the classes you go to and the degrees that you get. But on top of that, you have students who are now like joining clubs. They're learning about different opportunities. They're learning about job placement, job opportunities, and then also services that they might not have ever gotten, like mental health services, are usually just free on college campus. Health services are free. There's a lot of other community-based like departments for like food insecurity, housing insecurity, like job insecurity, all these things that they've never seen before in like their traditional day-to-day, to where it's like, oh, I kind of like this. And why don't we have more programs like this? They see more communal living, more people living together in dorms, and just having that experience. It's kind of the opposite of what young people also get in the military, which is the exact opposite to it. And it's not to shit on the military. It's just to say that it's this formative time in people's life where they can go one way or the other. And whereas militarism has a strong indoctrination pull into patriotism, jingoism, all that jazz, college kind of does operate the other way. But it's not. There is a difference between indoctrination and just sort of experience. Yeah. You experience these things and then you just digest it and then decide whether or not you like it or not. Tucker Carlson is a fucking asshole who hates, college and tells people that it's a waste of time. But that goes to the second thing that I was going to say is whenever the conversation about college and degrees comes up, especially on the right, they do this annoying thing where it's like, well, it's a waste of time anyway because everyone's just getting art history degrees that don't get you a job. It's like, have you ever been to a college like graduation? Like ever? Like that's like the liberal arts degrees are very small. Yes. And if anything is maybe like English degrees or humanities or something like that. But most, or I think even sociology might fall under that.
I have a liberal arts degree in psychology.
That's right.
It's like out of the four of us in this room, only one of us actually has an art degree.
Exactly. But that's my point. Is it's like you got business majors, you got history majors, science, STEM, like all these other sort of veterinary, medicine, like on and on and on and on, and like that's 80% of what is the graduating populace. But it always gets shot down with this weird like everyone's graduating with basket weaving
gender
degrees.
Studies.
Yeah, it's like okay, that might be 3 kids, honestly, out of the entire college.
In my head, it ties into right now when we're going over the 50 minutes of bullshit of militarizing the border. It's already pretty militarized, and it's just it kind of feels like this idea of like we all bought into the idea that a fine arts degree wasn't going to make you money, so we went for the shit that was going to make you money. So and then like. And on Fox News, they're still saying
you kept it real. We're the major,
theater major for life.
But then like you go on Fox News, and apparently, like you said, everybody's getting art history degree. So has anything gotten better? Because you keep militarizing the border, you keep defunding public education, and like so, it's nothing keeps getting better. Everything's still a fucking problem. Yeah. And that just fuels the nightmare. Crime seems to never go down.
Yeah.
Right? Immigration is always bad. It's always an invasion.
Because they don't want to fix the problem because then they don't make any money.
I disagree. It's not that. It's what they want to do is gain total control. And the lie that they've been telling will just magically vanish. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
that's it. It's just like, oh, crime's great. It's like crime. If you look statistically, crime has been so low.
Yeah.
Like historically, go look at a crime chart and look at 1993, and you'll see when crime was a fucking epidemic. Okay, it's not now.
And that's why they're making mountains out of molehills.
All
you
of
know?
it. Immigration, all these things are just these
Transgender issues.
Transgender issues.
And that's interesting. I was on, well, I mean, the Bluetooth feature on my car broke, so I've been only listening to NPR lately. But there was a
Viva NPR. Always welcome on the party.
I think like Wednesday they were talking precisely about that. Like crime's been at an all-time low, but if you look at surveys of how people think crime is actually going, people are panicking.
Yeah.
People think it's the highest it's ever been. And then Chicago comes up again, and big cities, and like it's all like the problem. Like if you choose us, the problem will vanish, but then it doesn't.
Yeah. There was this survey, speaking of surveys, where 85% of the people that responded to the survey thought that America would be better if we had more manufacturing jobs. Out of those same people, only 20% of them thought that their lives would be better if they worked in a factory. Right. So you want more manufacturing, but you don't actually want to do the fucking work for it.
Yeah. You know what? Just hit the music. This is the mighty, mighty big news. All right.
Wait! We got a couple
No. We'll come back.
We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it.
That's a hit of dopamine. Anyway, this is now the mighty, mighty big news because this segues perfectly because the mighty, mighty big news was really just about misinformation and disinformation being spread. And some of this really came from RFK, which we kind of touched on a little bit. He gave this whole speech recently. You all can Google it and look it up on YouTube, where he just started spewing utter bullshit for like 30 minutes.
Was it him or was it the worm?
It was the worm probably talking. Yes, this fucking roadkill eating piece of shit like is out here saying.
If you don't know the roadkill story, look it up.
Look it up or don't. But he did this thing that really upset the autistic community, where he went on a rant saying things like autistic people can't get jobs, they can't get married,
they won't go on dates.
They won't go on dates. Like Love on the Spectrum doesn't exist on Netflix. It's fucking awesome. He literally said they'll never be poets. They can't write poetry.
They can't write poetry.
He just started talking about autistic people in this like
come out Wednesday nights.
Yeah. We have a whole autistic show here. Like, what are you talking? And it's just so bad. But it goes back to this Trump thing too. About Trump is probably the greatest president of all time if you believe his bullshit.
Yeah.
Like you have to really believe just lies and ignorance to then sort of color your worldview. And it's the Harvard of it, what you're talking about. Like that's why they're just bombarding these institutions.
And let me jump off of that, and I hate saying this, but Trump is also probably the best politician of our lifetime in the way that he got so many people to believe him and believe in him. Twice.
This is why this is the dumb era.
Yeah, the dumb ages.
The dumb ages.
The dumb ages. So what are we talking about then?
So all of it, again, just sort of another thing that also happened. We were talking about the war against higher education, but now there's also the war against public education in Texas. They recently approved a bill, a $1 billion private school voucher system. Yeah, so they are now going to using billions of dollars to before ever funding all this.
JR is getting
he is sweating. Yes, he is having hot flashes.
Our public school educator right here is verklempt.
Before they ever even begin the process of distributing funds to public schools, they're spending billions of dollars just to create the system that would then allow taxpayers to use their tax dollars to go to private schools. And again, if you were to sit and believe the bullshit that gets shot at you, this is where we end up with these wacky polls where they'll say, when you ask a person like, well, don't you think a person should have the choice to go to a better school if they had that option? Of course they're going to say fucking yes. You know what I mean? Like, do you think more people would feel happier if they had like a six-pack of abs or something? Like, oh, when you color it like that, It's like, but if you tell people like, oh, would you think we should do 1,000 sit-ups a day? Like everybody, like, fuck no. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's where it all gets sort of miscolored, mischaracterized all the fucking time.
And the one of the big lies being like, colleges are where kids go to like become Marxist liberals, right? And because they're being fed all these Marxist and socialist crap. And it's like, no, bitch. To go to your point, they're going and they're having an experience outside of their bubble, and they're realizing that the world is bigger than fucking Dilley, Texas.
Yeah.
You know, and there are people out there with different lived experiences, and they're like, oh, they're not so different from me. Maybe I shouldn't shit on them all the time. Maybe
and you know what? One of the weirdest moments in a college student's life is, and it depends. It is mostly like if they've ever left like home, and then they have to go back home and talk to Freddie and the boys. After reading some books and shit.
Do you know how many
it's a hard time, bro.
Do you know how many books and movies have been made about that exact situation?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's out there.
Yeah, that's when you start to realize like, oh shit, like my boys are still huffing glue in the Dairy Queen parking lot, and maybe they don't know shit about climate change.
Or they just talk their tío on just.
The other lie is that private schools are better for kids. You know, like when I was in high school, my parents thought about sending me to private school, synagogue, because they wanted to get to make sure that I wasn't around like people doing drugs. I'm like, do you know
who has the most access to drugs?
The most cocaine came from the private schools.
I just want to drop this in here, and just for clarity's sake, I just want people to understand,
for the record,
public schools are public because everybody within whatever zone they're in can be enrolled in that school. They cannot reject you. They cannot send you away. They can expel you for behavior and code of conduct, but that's a different story. Private schools have that, if you want to call it luxury, of telling you no, your kid cannot be here.
They don't qualify.
If your kid has certain needs, certain behavioral plans, we don't have to service them.
Yep.
So again, unless you find a private school that caters right to your kid, which good luck, you might be running into walls. And I bring this up because we had a district meeting, where I work at insert random district name here. Within my district, there's about 30 private schools, we found out. And a lot of these schools, I'm finding out, are lowering their tuition so that they match up with the voucher. Or raising it so they can make some money. I mean, so in a way, they're trying to make it work so these vouchers work.
Yeah.
So if that makes you feel like, maybe private school or something like, just consider who your child is, because pretty soon you might be knocking back on the door of the public school you tried to leave.
Yeah. Because just because you now have access to this money to get your kid in private school doesn't mean your kid is getting into private school.
Exactly. And I mean, and now since we're going to demonize autism, I mean, you might want to rethink that stance.
Yeah.
Or just any learning disability.
Yeah.
Got any thoughts on fucking Abbott in schools?
Misinformation.
No, I think
side note, congratulations to the homie Chris for graduating tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. Thank you.
All right, that's enough of that.
Yeah. No, but I think you're doing a great disservice to your kid if you're sending to a private school, because, the curriculums are in place the way they're in place. You really, you got to go meet the kid at the skate park who's under the fucking thing doing the funky stuff. You know what I mean?
You gotta meet that weird
You gotta
kid.
meet you gotta learn his story, realize that he's kind of a cool guy, and you don't get that same experience at a private school. All these kids are cookie cutter kids, and their parents are all the same, and they all shake hands, and it's the same thing with the higher education. It's all about the experience. I think that's really what shapes and our youth. They're extremely misguided, and I think it's because these parents have way too much of a hand in how, their learning experience is going. And they get out there into the real world, and they have no idea how to interact. They have no clue.
They don't.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
They have no fear. And sometimes they should have a little bit of fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've been in some sketch place, and I'm like, I need to get out of here.
And the thing is, we've been here before, not we necessarily, but we've seen this happen time and time again, where when you want to install a dictatorship, the first thing you go after is education.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
because with an uneducated or misinformed public is how you're able to like get and retain said power.
Yeah.
There's also a reason why there's a correlation between the states that have higher graduation rates from, higher education and the states that lean left over leaning right.
No, there was a recent study that I had, it's on my phone or somewhere, where they did a happiness index and sadness index of the United States. And essentially the Bible Belt, like Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma, some in New Mexico, just the people feel alone, they feel sad, and they're not happy. And again, you can tie this, I believe, to education, because education would tell you to leave these places that aren't serving you.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you just feel stuck. And I think that's ultimately again, not to be conspiratorial, but when you have people who are stuck, but then also have a lack of knowledge and understanding on how to acquire resources to get unstuck, that's the perfect candidate to exploit.
Yeah. And that's exactly who has been exploited in these past couple of elections.
Right.
Right. Where, like you said, Trump is the best president ever if you believe his lies.
Right. I mean, it's insanity to me that I think now that the stock market tanked due to his idiotic tariffs, like, I don't understand why Democrats or the media is just spinning it in a positive way. Like, yeah, you see how good it was under Joe Biden, really? Like, the hellhole you were living in, like, wasn't that bad. It's like, because it's lies.
Yeah.
And it kind of leads to the question of critical thinking, generally speaking. Like, what happened to it?
Well, we stopped teaching it.
I don't know what you mean by that.
I don't know that it's being taught, but I think it's going to get worse with AI, because I think the first
AI is looking real.
Yeah, the first thing to, I think, kill it, kind of start the death by 1,000 cuts was Google, and how easy it was to just find an argument online, and the YouTubers that just tell you what things are and you just believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many kids over the years just come and show me a YouTube video or a TikTok and like, oh, did you know that this happened? Like, you can't see, that's not real.
Yeah.
That's, and it's access to, it's not access to information. It's just access to the quick thoughts.
Yeah.
You don't have to form your own thought anymore. Someone already has it and you can just look it up and go by that.
Yeah. When I say we stopped teaching it, it's because we literally stopped teaching critical thinking and started teaching multiple choice for the test. Right?
Oh yeah.
The education system focused on eliminate the obvious and come to the best conclusion, not know the answer, not argue your point, not research, right? It was like, here it is, regurgitate. So it started there. And then critical thinking started being taken out of mass consumption as more and more right-wing media conglomerates started buying up small independent news agencies. There's a whole John Oliver episode about this, right? Where all of these local news channels are actually owned by one giant right-wing media conglomerate that tells them this is the news you're going to tell them, right? And so they don't have access to diverse information. They don't know how to think for themselves because they've only been told what to think, not how to think. And then now the mass lie of, going to higher education is dumb. It's not good for you. You're just going to be indoctrinated, right? Like, no, it's a site for liberation because it teaches you to think for yourself. To your point earlier of like, you kind of have to figure out how to make it, navigate it.
Yeah, you have to figure out how to navigate the world. And the thing is like a lot of these, and you'll see a lot of channels and stuff where like a guy's interviewing a billionaire, right? And he's telling you like, oh, this is how I made it, right? When you look at the number of billionaires and relative to the number of people in the world, like everyone thinks they're gonna be that guy, right?
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, I'm gonna drop out of college and do all this. Good luck. You know what I mean? Because like you're gonna be grinding for a lot longer. Like a lot of these guys got in when the getting in was the time to get in.
Right. There's a reason Heinz is Heinz.
Yeah.
Because nothing existed before then. Right.
And
Yeah,
unless
he
you
stole
come up with
salsa.
something new and spectacular, like you can't just follow that model because that guy's already claimed that model.
And that's a lot of luck. I think I had this realization when I saw, it was a while ago, of AOC grilling Mark Zuckerberg on a hearing, and AOC's being the smart person in the room, and Zuckerberg is just tumbling, and he can't like string together a coherent thought. And I think that's when you realize, like, oh, you're rich because you're lucky. You just kind of stumbled upon a goose that lays a golden eggs.
Yeah, you're a code guy,
and there's nothing else behind there.
Yeah,
you're not a smart person. Like AOC is a smart person. You just took advantage of a lot of lucky breaks.
Yeah. Now on the Democrats of it all, I don't know how real this was because I didn't see it linked to any like news article or anything like that. But did you see that post about what Liz Cheney said to the Democrats?
Nope.
Shaggy shared it on Facebook, and then I saw a couple of things. But essentially, she came for Democrats, being like, "Y'all stop asking us for fucking donations, okay? Stop playing nice." All right, because playing nice isn't going to get you anywhere. We are literally dealing with fascism, and what the fuck are you going to do about it? Because $15 for your next election ain't it.
Yeah.
And what you're doing right now ain't it. Polite conversation on the Congress floor ain't it. And kind of gave like a blueprint of like, here's what you need to do in order to actually fight this. Again, I don't know if this is actually what Liz Cheney said.
Did you like the blueprint?
The blueprint actually made sense. Okay. There was a lot about like empowering the masses to make change, and a lot of like, stop playing nice,
I think
air out the dirty laundry for the world to see.
Like, I totally agree with the notion that Democrats in a lot of ways are opportunists, in the sense of like, they, because of their political platform being one where they're trying to sort of satisfy so many different varieties of groups, I think that when they lose, then it turns into this, they're always reactive, essentially.
Yeah.
What I think people need to do, and this is maybe a hot take and it may get me thrown into an El Salvadorian prison, but I really think individually people need to start really, really controlling their money. We can break the stock market too if we just stop buying certain shit. Like if we blacked out Facebook, we could end Facebook. Like if we all just said, fuck it, we're out, we can end Meta. If we said, fuck it, no one's paying medical bills anymore. Yeah. Why? Fuck it. They'll socialize medicine. Like, because they already basically do when you don't pay your bills.
Yeah.
And so if we start pushing back on, like, take the credit they give and then crash it. Fuck it. Why? Like, because we literally have a president who thinks the rules don't apply to him, but anytime we like fuck up, the hammer and lightning get dropped on us.
Yeah.
And so it's like I think there are these modes of sort of fighting back that if we did it collectively, it would jar the system to where ultimately the average person who falls for things like misinformation could see those results immediately. Yeah. Immediately enough where they're like, oh, okay, cool. Because it is hard to say like, oh, well, we got to make a bill. Well, how long does that take? 4 years. Like, fuck what?
Yeah.
And that doesn't.
You could just get
and it doesn't change anything. It just gets revoked the next time.
Yeah. It passes to the next administration.
And then who the hell knows if the right administration is going to be in place to make it happen, or the right Congress is going to be happen. This is why we have this kind of shitty, I say shitty loosely, but Obamacare. Like, it's fine, but it did not go far enough.
And it's not fine. All it's doing is giving a subsidy to the fucking healthcare industry, not actually helping us.
And it didn't go far enough. And a big part of that is because what we're supposed to be doing right now is what the Republicans did. They fought that shit like crazy.
Yeah.
Right? To the point where it came down to a thumbs down by John McCain at midnight.
Yeah.
And that's the energy that the Democrats don't have. And they're toothless.
Yeah. And to that point too, one of the other things in this post was about like what we need to be doing right now is y'all need to be making your own Project 2029. Yeah. Like, what the fuck are you doing reacting, right? And to your point about like we all need to come together, it doesn't take everyone. I think the statistic was something like 3% is critical mass. If 3% of this country could get on board with one fucking idea and move forward in that idea, then things will change. I think that was the statistic historically of like when big changes happen, like the civil rights and other stuff. So that's all it takes is 3%.
And new radical ideas should form. Like, you know what? Sorry, guys. We need to all move to the middle of Texas. Just some little fucking red state where they hate us, where we're going to get, dealt some bad cards when we go to Dairy Queen. But
then we take them out to like Bulldogs and get them drunk one
exactly.
night.
We
Get them on that karaoke. And we're like, you're kind of cool, man.
And that's kind of where we're into the problem, because you just said that, and my first thought, like, I don't fucking want to. Right? Like, it takes giving up a lot of comfort.
And I think that's the part of it. It's like, if we all like got off Facebook, it would shut down. Yeah. But not enough people pay attention or care enough.
Yeah. But also, like, why is anybody on Facebook? Because I check Facebook. I don't know why.
I think it's because it's
on there for me.
It's algorithmically designed to and I saw this whole documentary about it specifically with social media, that the algorithm, the AI behind these social media sites are so attuned to your likes, to the things that's going to grab your attention, to the point where even if you walk away from it a little bit, the second you just fire it up because you're like, oh, was today so-and-so's birthday, it's going to show you the thing that just gets you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like the longer you're off, the more it's fucking morphine drip, man. Yeah. It's there to,
you know what? Forget Neuralink. They're already in our brain.
Yeah.
They're in there already.
We're living in Black Mirror.
Yeah. That was the mighty big news.
All right.
When does the dopamine come?
It's right now.
Yeah.
It's a quick hit of dopamine. And there's a couple of things that we skipped over on in case you missed it. And I'm going to bring mine into a quick hit of dopamine. And it's going to be a quick hit of dopamine, and then I'm going to take it away. I'm so sorry. But they brought back the direwolves.
I did see that, yeah.
You saw that? They brought back the direwolves. This is also the same company that gave us woolly mice. It's a company based out of Dallas called Colossal, I believe. And the thing is, there's a lot of debate over whether or not they actually brought back the direwolf.
Yeah.
In that they brought back the direwolf that it looks like a direwolf.
Yeah.
But if you look at it genetically, it's just a gray wolf whose appearance has been altered.
Yeah, I think that they said that they'd found some, like a 15% like genetic code of like a direwolf, and they were able to like splice that together or something like that.
They essentially changed 20 was the number of genes in the gray wolf to produce this. And 20 genes does not a species make. No. So a lot of people are just calling this giant PR publicity. Yeah. But to what end? I'm curious, like, why? Why? And why are you spending all this money bringing back endangered species or extinct species when there's already so many endangered species that could use a little help?
The direwolf went extinct because
I think it was just over hunting.
Yeah, hunting. It was like they went extinct about 10 to 15,000 years ago after the end of the life, because they were also an ice age creature.
I was gonna say that feels ice agey.
Yes, they were an ice age creature like the woolly mammoth. That as the world got warmer and humans started inhabiting and killing,
right?
As we do. So it's cute and all, but there's no plans to like have these pups reproduce and make more direwolves. They're not being let out into the wild. They live on their own little acreage. So that also goes into the conversation of like, well, if they're not living like a direwolf, right? They don't have to hunt for their food, like all of this. Then are they really direwolves?
Well, I think the first pair you can't just like throw in the bush. You know what I mean? Sure. Be free.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think we're building to a BoJack Horseman situation. Man. So get used to that.
Also, their studies have not been peer reviewed or published.
Yeah. So, they just came out with a direwolf that had like some extensions.
Yeah. So it's like they're Jurassic Parking it, but like with mammals.
Remus and Romulus and Khaleesi. That's the name of the three pups.
I'll just say this about the species. I mean, it's when we started to build the taxonomy of species, how did we do it? By how they look. I mean,
maybe I don't know. You're the teacher.
I mean, no, because Darwin didn't have a genetic splicer to analyze DNA, so. Sure, if they can reproduce their new species.
You had the dodo bird. The dodo bird was an option. Yeah.
And a lot more probably manageable than like the wild direwolves.
I think they're also working on the Tasmanian devil.
Why? Yeah.
Because it's a headline. It's a PR stunt because now that company is worth $10 billion.
The Tasmanian devil or the Tasmanian tiger?
One of the two.
yeah,
The
That's
Tasmanian
still
tiger's
around.
extinct. The
That
Tasmanian
one.
devil's not.
That one then. The
Okay,
Tasmanian
cool.
tiger. Whichever one's extinct.
We need a campaign for the dodo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote Direwolf 2028. That's what I'm voting for.
Okay.
Put him on the ticket.
There we go.
Yeah.
What you got?
Quick hit of dopamine in Chelsea, Michigan. This was just lovely. Humanity coming together for something so simple. There was a bookstore that got a new property. They were just moving to a new store, and it was like blocks away. So they put out a call on social media, hey, help us move some books, to where they got like a human chain of 300 people, and they just started one by one passing the book from one store up the block. So yeah, we were kind of happy about that.
We love that. Also, on a quick hit of dopamine, this was on the Texas Standard. There is a drag queen from Austin named Bridget Bandit who has been using her platform as a drag queen to host weekly shows to break down what the fuck is happening in DC and in Austin for the masses. Because, you know, who doesn't want a little entertainment with their news, and who better to deliver it than a drag queen?
Is it like a dramatization, like of?
I have no idea. I think she actually like talks about what's happening.
Because I thought it was like this like epic performance.
And then she
Death drop at
she's
the
a
end.
death drop, and then she
you know?
lip syncs, and then she lip syncs, something like that. So
It was funny. There was this reel that I saw where it was this conservative, whoever the fuck, doesn't matter, and they really thought they were cooking. I sent it to you, I think, where it was just like they were being very like conspiratorial. They were just like, has anyone ever stopped to ask why the drag queens only read to children, only children, and not like retired, like the old
The
senior
elderly,
citizens, the
homeless
elderly,
people,
homeless
veterans.
people, and then like immediately someone was like, bitch, because they can read.
children can't. That's why.
Yeah, like anyway.
Do yours next. And then
Down in the home, in the DMs, kind of came back today. Shout out to the homely Carla Cordero. Favorite rituals to help you de-stress or seek joy during world chaos.
I'm gonna get into mine with the next one. So
Oh, okay.
We'll get
Gentlemen,
there.
do you have ways that you de-stress? I watched The Pit.
that's the most counterintuitive thing I've ever heard.
Wait for my conference period, turn off the lights in the classroom, put on head noise canceling headphones, and just dissociate.
There you go.
That's that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a gamer, so I'll like play some video games till I get bored of it. I play Magic the Gathering. You know,
Yeah, follow the homie Chris on Twitch.
yeah, shit like that.
You know, I think more recently I've really started to. I really bought into the spatial audio scam. Like I feel like I can like listen to every single fucking instrument.
Yes.
So I'll just sit there and like try to like listen for new shit on songs I've heard over and over before.
Yes.
But you know, it's calming me.
Yeah.
There you go. What's yours? Besides the pit.
It's so how do I de-stress in a chaotic world or find joy? I feel like I do hood rat shit when I need to really cut loose. Because then it's like, yeah, I don't have responsibility, and you're meeting a different me when that happens. You know?
Yeah, there's some truth to that because like anytime like I'm having like a rough week, I'm like I need to go find the like I go to blah.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like
you know what time it is.
Yeah.
You know what the term I heard for that is? Letting your brain off leash.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Just
Yeah,
like
I
let
get
it off-
your boy
yeah.
gets off leash. Let me tell you, your boy
She
changes
goes
some
feral.
curl. Yeah,
You getting weird tonight or what?
exactly.
Well, similar to the homie Chris, I play some video games. Assassin's Creed Shadows has taken up.
Oh, how's that? You like that?
Oh, it's so good. It's so fucking good. Like I call it morning murders because I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I just need to kill some bitches real quick.
Damn, first thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning,
Damn.
just get that murder out of the way, and
night
I'm like
terrors.
feeling like okay,
Coffee
ready to
and,
go.
I'm trying to
While
Monster
I'm
Hunter.
drinking my coffee, I'm like, all right, kill some bitches, and I'm like, all right, now I can go deal with the world. I've
Sneak
released
attack.
tension.
I wonder if that's how the people that run the drones feel like.
Right. And then secondly, a few months ago, I got back into wrestling. And you know what weekend it is, gentlemen?
WrestleMania.
It's WrestleMania weekend! So I thought we could go down the card and just talk about our WrestleMania predictions.
Can we get a little like, or is it too much time to go over a little bit of the backstory of the feud? For like people like me that haven't been watching.
Yeah, no, that's totally
A little
fine.
bit. We can do some.
We can do a little bit. I'm gonna skip over some of these less than like Jade Cargill versus Naomi. You know,
Don't know her.
Good luck to y'all.
yeah, Jade Cargill's gonna whoop some ass. Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Have you heard about El Grande Americano?
I've seen those clips.
Yeah,
I think Ray's gonna win.
I think so too, and it'd be great. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu.
I like LA Knight.
I love Jacob Fatu.
He's all right.
That motherfucker is crazy.
Yeah, he is crazy. That's his whole thing. I'm Samoan. I'm crazy.
Yeah, Samoan werewolf is what they call him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't beat that. Sometimes you just need a guy like that.
Not that there are werewolves on the island of Samoa.
Yeah. There's just one. His name is Jake Fatu.
Yeah. I've never really cared for the tag team division, but War Raiders versus the New Day.
I like a tag team.
I love a tag team, but I'll be honest, New Day never did it for me. Nah, they weren't my jam. They're talented, like absolutely. Like I think one of the things over the years is wrestling skill has really developed since the Attitude Era. Because back then you would just have some guys like
just slugging it out.
Yeah, or just like as much as I love Vader, like in his later years, he kind of just was burly and out there. Like, that was his thing. The whole oddities faction that existed, that was just their thing. But now everybody can basically they all wrestle to a level that's you're like, damn.
The men anyway.
Yeah, well, that's your take.
I've seen some really shitty wrestling from the women's division where it's just sloppy.
Well, it's because the women's division, in my opinion, has really developed a lot. But I still, as much as the WWF, loves to really champion, like, look at how we're doing the women's, I still think they're doing them dirty. Because there are so many other talented women wrestlers and other,
NXT?
NXT, I would even say AEW.
Yeah.
Like, they're just around, just kicking shit.
Yeah. I'll also say that this tag team championship was not SmackDown's tag team division is on fire and has really those matches I enjoy watching because it is fast, it is coordinated, it is synchronized, it is what tag team is supposed to be. Right?
I think the problem with the tag team division is they stopped caring enough that it's all sort of the same matches over and over with maybe a surprise here or there. I bring back the Texas Tornado. You know what I mean? When everybody's in the fucking ring. Yeah. No tagging. It's 2-on-2. Let's fucking rock.
Yeah.
That was a time.
Speaking of women's championship, Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. I honestly couldn't care less about this match. I just couldn't.
I like Tiffany Stratton.
She's fine. And Charlotte feels meh.
I just feel like Charlotte's comeback, or she left for a bit, right?
Yeah, knee injury.
I'm like, okay, cool.
However, World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther versus Jey Uso.
Do you like Gunther?
Not at all.
Okay.
I mean, no.
Do you know about Gunther?
No, not
his whole thing is he's Russian?
Russian or...
Eastern European.
Eastern European.
He's Eastern European as fuck, and he's the most, Spartan... You know about... Okay, great.
Gunther.
His whole shtick is he's just
the ring general.
He just wrestles to kick ass. So nothing about him is remarkable. He just wears the red trunks. No, just
black trunks,
black
boots, and that's it.
And he just has a very high and tight haircut. He chest chops like a motherfucker. Go look up. But
also
chops.
because he's 6'8" or something.
He's
he's
really
tall. He's not even really muscular too.
Nah.
When you watch him, he's got some flab on him, right? But he's tall. He's big. He's not fat, but
he's
not
big
fundamental. He's like a fucking freighter.
Like one of his big things is the dinosaur drop kick where he just it's not on your side, he just charges and wow, and just rails you down.
Kicking
drop kicks forward.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Fuck no.
So and
6'8" coming at me with a drop kick. No,
his finishing move is the power bomb. Yeah. It's just a power bomb, but he's just this big purist.
Yeah,
but not as.
But he's not the animal because he's not here for the theatrics. He's here to win and stay winning.
Yeah. Against Yeetmeister main event Jey Uso, I think Jay's gonna have his moment. I think he's fine because at this point Jay is 0 for 3 against Gunther. He has lost 3 times against Gunther. So I think he's going to have his moment and take it home.
Yeah.
And then the main event for night 1, Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus CM Punk.
Again?
It's a 3-way?
In a 3-way.
I think Seth takes it.
I think so too. I think Paul Heyman is going to betray both of them. Just basically say, fuck you, Roman Reigns, for treating me like a punching bag, and fuck you, CM Punk, for putting me in this position. I'm going with the visionary, and Seth Rollins is going to win this one.
Y'all Seth Rollins fans?
You know, I don't keep up with wrestling, but I think I'm gonna start watching.
I mean, it's WrestleMania.
It's
What a
WrestleMania
time
weekend.
to-
What better
watch.
time?
Yeah.
I mean, it's on Netflix now, right? So
It is.
it's not
Raw's
like I
on
have to-
Netflix.
It's not like I have to go
But
buy
is
something
it
else.
still pay per view?
No, you can actually watch it for
really?
free on Peacock.
Peacock.
And I actually think it's gonna be on Netflix.
I don't know.
Potentially. I'll double check.
I haven't looked
dope,
into it. So
actually.
yeah. So that's night one. Night two, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Fuck Logan Paul.
Yeah.
But he can wrestle.
He can, but he's a
arguably might
douchebag.
be. He is.
We
but
had
now
a
he
whole
figured that
pod
out.
talking about how big of a douchebag Logan Paul was
No,
when we
the
weren't
other
even
Paul.
talking
Yeah.
about Logan Paul, but it all applied
Sure.
to Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next match.
Sin City Street Fight, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre.
Damian Priest versus who?
Drew McIntyre, the Scottish guy.
I think Drew is cool. I like Drew. He's basically like a more, if you put it is funny because they call Damian Priest bisexual Undertaker. That's like one of his nicknames. But then I would argue that Drew McIntyre is like Undertaker Sheamus. Like put together,
sure.
like that's kind of their thing.
Sure.
So yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna just say this. Good for Drew McIntyre. He's been kicking it in the mid card for 15 fucking
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
and he's holding on there like a Finley. I miss Finley.
I think he belongs in the mid card is the thing. Like he's on his thing though right now is just being a giant fucking baby about it all, being like, yeah, I've been wronged so many times. I was the world champion for 15 seconds and then I got robbed by Damian Priest and it's this grudge that I haven't let go of and everyone is wronging me, wham wham boo me, and I just want to see him get his ass kicked. So over him.
We'll find out.
Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way, Braun Breaker, who's the nephew of Scott Steiner. I didn't know that until a few weeks ago.
The son of Rick Steiner.
There you go.
There were two.
There were two. One of them arguably made a bigger name for himself.
I was a Rick fan when I was a kid.
I never saw him.
Oh, okay.
I only saw
Yeah.
Big Papa Punk.
Big Papa Pump was gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a big Papa Pump guy.
Yeah.
So-
and you would like Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker
Yeah.
is fucking
He used to be something for the NFL.
Yeah, he played football. His whole thing is he's built like a brick shit house and he's fast.
and he's fucking fast.
He's like, you know how like 28 Days Later, the fucking zombie movie,
Yeah.
their whole like change to the culture was these zombies run at you rather than like slow walk. That's Braun Breaker.
and his spear is not, I'm going to come at you and spear you. I'm going to bounce against one rope. I'm going to bounce against the other rope. And then I'm
We'll
going to
play a
fucking
YouTube
spear
clip
you.
after this.
It's
Okay.
intense.
He's like young Scott Steiner. He's very like agile. Like he moves and like for as built as he is, you're like, how the fuck does this guy move like
Yeah.
The Rock? Like you're like, it's crazy.
So Braun Breaker versus Dominic Mysterio.
Hate him.
Versus Penta.
Not a fan.
Really? I like him. Versus Finn Balor.
Okay, here's my thing.
Go.
This is why I don't like Penta. Do you know about Penta?
No. Oh, you know what? Masked.
Yes.
The
Okay.
luchador.
Seen, yeah. The thing about him is that he does the thing that I don't like about in wrestling now, where it's like back in the Attitude Era and like a little bit after, every good wrestler had at least like they're not finisher, but like 2 or 3 signature moves that were cool.
Yeah.
Penta has like 80 of them.
I love it.
But it's to that point where it's like, well, none of them matter. It's like, look at the way he did that spinning DDT off the top rope into the fucking pile driver. It's like, that would be a finisher for the average wrestler.
Yeah.
And it's like he stole all the moves, man.
Yeah.
Isn't that sort of what? Sorry, Mysterio.
Yeah.
It's got too, but I mean, because that's
AJ Styles too a little bit.
but that's a very like luchador / small guy thing where like when they start kind of like flipping all over the ring, that's kind of like, oh my god, he's getting a second wind.
Yeah.
Right.
So hear me out.
No.
So hear me out on this. I think this is what I think should happen. I think Dominic should win this because there's to bring back the kind of like cruiserweight lucha libre like squad of things because they're kind of like
He would
scattered
add
to the
value
wind.
to the Intercontinental for sure.
But yeah, because then if you think about it, like think about SummerSlam and it being like a ladder match between Dominic Mysterio, Penta, Rey Mysterio, El Grande Luchador, Rey Fenix, which is Penta's brother.
See, I like Rey Fenix better.
Is now on SmackDown. Fucking Dragon Lee, like this, like this lucha libre
Intercontinental
6-way
vibe.
ladder match for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
And I think Dominic, kind of like departing from Judgment Day or from Finn Balor in some way and like cutting out Braun Breaker, who's just a fucking beast. Like, go be a beast somewhere else.
I think Braun's going to lose, but it's going to be one of those but now I think Braun might start going for a heavyweight.
Yeah, and that's what he should do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he should do.
Because in real life, like, Braun would just murder everyone in the ring.
Yeah.
But I could also maybe see Finn bringing back the demon. And then winning.
I never saw the demon.
Do you know about the demon? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
It was the demon.
This dude's whole shtick is he's a good wrestler, but he had some
He's a really good wrestler, actually.
But then he would have because he's Irish, so he would do this thing where like on the matches that really fucking matter, he's not himself. He's the demon, and he like face paints this whole like monster like body art thing that looks sick.
Yeah,
different music.
The mouth is on the neck.
It's just like a giant mouth, and he just now he really doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
like, that's his whole shtick, and it's cool.
Women's Tag Team Championship: Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria.
Who's the champs?
Liv and Raquel.
I think Bayley wins.
I think Liv and Raquel take it. They're the better team, I think.
Okay.
Because Bayley and Lyra only became a team a week ago. But they did win a 16th gauntlet to get this. So there's that. Women's World Championship, Triple Threat, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair.
I think Io still holds it. If you don't know who Io Sky is, she's this very tiny Asian woman.
Japanese,
yeah.
Genius of the Sky.
Does arguably the best elbow drop off the top rope since Macho Man Randy Savage. Because that chick just gets super air.
Yeah.
Like, and she just, like, she comes in at an angle where you're like, that's going to murder someone.
Yeah.
And she's awesome just to watch. Yeah.
She does this thing. She's done this thing multiple times in like War Games matches where she gets to the top of the cage with a trash can, puts the trash can over her head, and then just
dive bombs
into like 7 people.
Sick.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I think she should. I really think she should. I think they're gonna try and like lock in Bianca as a heel in some way, right? But she might still take it. Like Bianca might like knock out Rhea because like arguably Rhea's the best woman wrestler right now. Point blank. But she might like knock out Rhea with like a chair or the belt or something, and then Io comes in as the face. Yeah, and maybe still takes it, or Bianca takes it and like is like heel Bianca.
I want to just shout out the maybe 2 listeners who are still on our podcast right now, the core, and I don't know who else.
Well, we've reached the main event of all main events: Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship.
I think John loses.
He has to.
Yeah,
I don't. I think
you might be right.
Here's the thought. Because there's no way they did this giant heel turn, and this is his first fucking match as a heel, and he fucking loses it.
But he was planning on retiring, right?
At some point in time this year, not necessarily after WrestleMania.
But what if that was the thing? Like, it's over, and now he walks away.
You know what? These guys don't retire. Okay, like if you're gonna think any of these fuckers retire, they're not gonna retire until they're in a wheelchair, and they just can't do it anymore. So he might, if that's what it is, he might have a run.
So here's my thought. One, this match is going to be full of interferences. Oh. Left and right,
which
up
is
and
another
down.
thing that I hate, bro. Oh, no, this is another thing that does piss me off about wrestling. And I saw other people talking about it, but it has pissed me off too. It's the like no sells of finishers now. Like there's too many kickouts on finishers.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just, and now it takes like 9 of them to put the guy down.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, bro. Like let's stop
I even
it.
think, because The Rock is kind of in John Cena's corner, I even think because Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be in town for the Hall of Fame, Stone Cold might make an appearance and just stunner The Rock out of this. Just a thought. Might happen. But what I think is going to happen is after Paul Heyman's turn and siding with Seth Rollins, they're going to make an appearance and come in, especially because Seth has recently been like using that best for business jargon.
Yeah.
So they're going to come in. So it's going to be Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, The Rock, Travis Scott, and John Cena in the new corporation.
This might be a hot take, but I feel like Seth Rollins does CM Punk better than CM Punk. Really, when you break it down.
I don't want to talk about this.
And I love CM Punk, but
Yeah, I don't like Seth Rollins, but I think he's going to win. So we like to close out our sessions with a little bit a motivational message, some inspiring words for the week. So who wants to kick us off?
I'll kick it off so that our guests can think about it for a sec. My motivational message is do the hard thing, but you can calibrate what the hard thing is. Sometimes I feel like our motivational messages have been tailored down. Okay, there's too much. Go touch grass. Go censor yourself. Go be over. You know what? Get a hug. No, fuck that. This time, go do something gnarly. I don't even know if I told you this, but recently, so Mandy Lynn's daughter, Danny, shout out to the homies. She's a skater girl now.
Yeah.
And so I've been taking her, because she's like, she's got a crush on a skater boy because she's 16, which happens. And so she's totally trying to live that life. And so she was like, can you go take me to the skate park, please? And like, show me. I'm like, sure. Like, I'd go show her, like, okay, this is the Ollie, It's adorable.
The ocean.
But basically. The last time, though, we went, I was like, I wonder if I still got anything in the tank. Totally ate it immediately and felt all of 41 years old on that one. But that's what I mean by the hard shit. It was a nice recalibration of my life where I was like, yeah, I don't have it, but that was a thing, and it was a good check-in with myself. And then I was like, I can still eat it a little bit in this age. I got to start doing better with my health because one day I won't. But yeah, do the hard and go do some public speaking if you're afraid of it. Go sign up for the open mic. Go ask your boss for the raise. Go do the hard stuff.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna take us back to where we usually are. And talk about finding your sacred middle. Okay, in that like. Kind of what we were talking about earlier, where like everything feels like chaos and we have to like do, or run, hide, right? So don't rush towards things, but also don't run away from them. It's kind of like finding that flow, but a flow with intention. All right. So
what do they call that thing with marathon runners? It's like the runner's
high.
So
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, where it's like you get that high where eventually you just don't feel it anymore.
Yeah. Because if you're sprinting, I'm going to run with your metaphor. If we're constantly sprinting at something, we're going to burn ourselves out like way too quickly. Yeah. And then if we're taking it too
one
slow,
hard thing, not like all the hard things.
But if we're also not doing anything, then we're not winning the race. All right, and we gonna die. Literally. Yeah. So find that sacred middle, right? And
which I got something else too, just to kind of tack onto that about the not doing something can also be a problem. And this totally came from watching The Pit. So
shout out to The Pit.
This episode is brought to you by HBO Max. I had this thought because there's so much like grieving or like just situations that happen in emergency rooms where it really kind of dawned on me like, what is suitable grief? In this way of like, you know, you have to go to work or you have to do this. And I know sometimes it's like, yeah, but take your time. But then there's also that thing of where you just start shutting down your life because of grief. Yeah. And I started to think that like that also might be the next healthy step is what you're talking about. Like the middle part, like there are going to be so many catastrophes in a person's life. Yeah. And it happens and you should feel them. But at the same time, you owe the world, and maybe not the entire world, but your world. You owe the people of your world. And so like, you're not just by shutting down, you're also not being there present for others. And I'm not saying that they're not there for you, but I'm saying, or like to ignore your pain, but like that, they can't help you if you're not around. They can't be, you know, part of your healing process if you just completely walk away from everything. Yeah. You know, if you're just the grieving father who like doesn't go to work and loses their job, like life, if you should turn to the bottle, you turn to other things, like the shit goes down fast. Yeah. Yeah. And so,
This also kind of came, as I recently reached like a year in sobriety, and I was talking about it where like everything's kind of okay right now. And it's just okay. It's not great, but it's also not terrible.
Contentment's a hard thing to get comfortable with.
Yeah. And so like I'm having to be okay with things just being okay because on the regular I was chasing, you know? And so I think that's that kind of like sacred middle that I'm talking about, where like you got to find this like middle ground where like you're not chasing the high, but you're also not running away out of fear, right? And just kind of be in that middle and be okay with it, which is hard. Gentlemen. Yeah,
no, I mean, to be honest, like...
graduation party!
Yeah. No, I'll tell you guys. I mean, we could do a Wrestlemania watch party for graduation. I wouldn't be...
Sunday. I'll be out of town Saturday, but Sunday for sure.
Yeah, no.
I might have Saturday.
But I'll be honest with you guys. Like, I did not, on a personal level, I did not foresee myself at any point in time finishing the program that I just finished. It was a tremendous struggle. The content was what the content was. Like, you don't know what you don't know, right? So it was, learning new things at, in your 30s, being actively resistant against school and stuff, higher education when I was in my 20s because I was too cool for it or whatever, you know how that goes.
Hanging out with Freddie and the boys at the Dairy Queen.
It's just a piece of paper, man. What does it mean?
It doesn't change you.
Whippets, baby.
No, but I understand that sometimes, you have those bigger bouts with yourself, a lot of times if you're trying to change the trajectory that you're on, you run into that roadblock and you're the one that's putting your hand on your own chest saying like, no, this is good. We're good where we're at, and sometimes you got to swat that hand away and be like, no, and keep going. You got to row the boat. Sometimes you catch a wave. You catch a good wave. You ride the wave. Just don't get stranded out at sea.
Yeah, metaphors.
Do work, son. Yeah,
metaphors.
JR.
Don't take it the wrong way. I'm going to explain it. It's that at some point it's over. And what I mean by that is, you find yourself in a stressful situation, a bad situation, right? And kind of in the moment when the anxiety is kind of taking over, you just kind of in that moment of, it feels like it's not going to end. Like that's the way you're going to be forever, right? I had a lot of that on Wednesday when my kids took the STAR test. I was not in a good place. I was sweating in that room. The kids noticed. They were like, sir, you don't look like you slept well at all. Well, thank you for that. But like I had to, like a thought I came back to is like, oh, I mean, it's just today. Mm-hmm. At some point, we're all done, and that's it. And even with things that are coming up that you're dreading, I think that's a comforting thought. Like I just have to kind of, I'm not excited about it. I'm just gonna white knuckle it, and then I mean it's gonna happen anyway. So just gotta wait till I get to the end, and then it'll be back to the okay place.
Yeah, it'll all be okay in the end.
It's
kind of isn't okay.
It's kind of that saying about like anxiety makes you live the bad thing twice, like once in your head before it happens, and then when it actually happens.
Yeah. And for those of you who are just listening to the pod and not watching it, JR's shirt is epic right now. It says, I came, I saw, I had anxiety, so I left.
Good words of wisdom, gentlemen. Thank you to the one listener who's still here, who took those words of wisdom.
At an hour and 45.
Yeah, we're here every other week, and glad y'all are rocking with us. Chibby, where can they find you?
If they want to find me, they can find me on Instagram, Gemini's, Gminyes, or I just post the same shit on TikTok, but if you're on TikTok, Gemini's Poetry.
And they hate us on TikTok anyway.
They hate us on TikTok. Go follow Gemini's Productions on TikTok and fight back against the trolls, because I'm not.
Yeah, go talk to some of those in our comments.
Baby Rooster, if people want to find you.
My handle's Texas_kaiju. I do have a Twitch channel that I've only ever streamed once on.
Okay.
So if you want to see me play some video games and yell at a video game screen, go check it out.
There you go.
You can find me in my house mowing my lawn.
Yeah, because now you're a homeowner, motherfucker.
Fuck the credit score.
Roost.
You can find me on Instagram, RoostMTZ.
That's right. And until then, make sure you check out the website. Go support the pod. There's a lot of merchandise up on the website that you can get. Shirts, mugs, hats, all that jazz. And check out the other podcasts that are happening on the Gemini's Productions Network. We just launched the new one with Deep.
Yeah.
Get Deep with Deborah Deep Mouton. Daily affirmations, motivational messages, shit like that. If you like it, go seek it out. Like, subscribe, rate, review. Let everyone know that Puro Pinche Podcast is your best place to get not real news, but just a couple of people talking about the shit that's going on in this world. Until next time, y'all, stay safe out there. Bye.
Peace.